Hello. How is everyone tonight on Friday? Welcome to the Cajun Eskimo Show from Bayou to Igloo. As you can see, I have my co-host live with me in the Cajun Libertarian Studio, which is actually my kitchen, believe it or not. Eskimo, why don't you give everyone a greeting? Great greeting, Eskimo. She says hi. Tonight on the Cajun and Eskimo Show, it will actually be the Cajun and Jason Show. Weird. Mr. Bearded Truth. Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. We will be talking about T-Mobile getting breached again. New Zealand goes full tyranny again. And the wonderful Afghanistan Papers, which are all too intriguing and very too long to discuss in one episode, but absolutely fascinating. Next on the Cajun and Eskimo Show from Bayou to Igloos. Yes. Welcome back to all of you wonderful friends and family to the Cajun and Eskimo Show from Bayou to Igloos on Muddied Waters Media. Whoops, my bad. I've got a little different setup tonight. I just bumped the table and knocked the camera. But you know who doesn't mess anything up? Cumberland Cannabis Company, based out of Tennessee, for your online weed, CBD, and all of the essential natural and organic necessities that you will need to get your weed online. And feel better, reduce that inflammation, and live a better, healthier life with Cumberland Cannabis Company. You know who also is fantastic and who will reduce your inflammation and your worries and stress if you're in Pennsylvania? Joe Solosky for Pennsylvania governor, the key to Pennsylvania's success. And if you did not know, Joe is the voice of the Muddied Waters of Freedom intro on Tuesday nights. Joe will be on my show very soon. This week, I believe, this Wednesday. So check that out. Check out Joe. If you live in PA, make him your governor. It will be worth it. With that being said, obviously, you see I have Eskimo here live in the Cajun Libertarian Studio. So who we will bring on tonight is Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. Or I don't know if he can know this, but I can see him in the gulag down there with that ridiculous crap on. He has labeled himself Mr. Bearded Truth. Mr. Bearded Truth, what's up?
Hey, so for anybody wondering, what the hell is he wearing? So on, I believe it was Monday night show, you had a wonderful guest on your standalone page where you were talking, and this is terrible. This is not a well-made prop by any means, but you had a viewer that was talking about how you're always wearing a black hat. Your black beard just molds into your black shirt. It's weird. It's almost as if like this was planned or something. But you had no idea of this. So I thought I was going to take it upon myself to wear a poorly made prop to be the second Cajun. But really what the people want is the better beard. And so let's give the people what they want.
Okay. You just lost style points there. You were gaining. I think you were even trending on Twitter there for the last 2 seconds. You also don't have a shirt from Spike Cohen handed to you personally that says Young Padawan.
Oh, you're absolutely right. He just showers me with compliments. He doesn't give me the petty gifts.
Because this feels like a compliment. It feels like a compliment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's beautiful. So, of course, I would be remiss without saying this because there's so many people here who are joining in for these podcasts, and they may think that we hate each other, but of course, this is all in good libertarian brotherly love from one Navy guy to another Navy guy. As we talk about something that's so relevant for veterans later on. And so this is all in the best of flavors and the best of fun. And so excited to be doing this and joining you tonight.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. I asked Jason to come on short notice because I wanted to do a raffle or auction for this hat. And Eskimo is out of town. I meant to mention that at the very beginning. She is doing her thing in the Alaskan grocery store, I believe. So she is out of town. And I asked Jason to come on. And for anybody that doesn't know, I would be hard pressed to think that you don't know. But Jason has a show on Monday nights on Muddy Waters Media. Would you like to pitch that show?
Absolutely. So I am, of course, the Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, running my shows Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's Freedom Time, of course, not Central, but Eastern. And where we take one topic each week, we dive deep into these topics, and we talk about. Did you guys just lose me, or is that me? Just
No,
like
you're good.
okay. Okay, perfect. Where we dive deep into like a specific topic, and we talk about the history of it. We talk about from the Republican side, the Democrat side, and of course the libertarian solution to it. Some of these topics we've hit already are certificate of need, which is your healthcare, finding ways of making healthcare more affordable, more accessible, and getting cronyism and monopolies out of the way. We've talked about civil asset forfeiture, where law enforcement has a legal tool in which they can take your property, that's your money, your car, your home, your boat, whatever it is, as long as they think that it may have been associated with a crime, of course, without due process. We've talked about the war on drugs. We had Matt Wright from Muddy Waters of Freedom. We spoke at great length on the war on drugs and everything else, and so we hit so many different topics, and so we've got, of course, an abundance of them coming forward. I'm excited. We're gonna have Cajun on here soon. We're gonna have we have Bootleg coming up this Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna be talking a little bit about guns, which is, of course, libertarian rite of passage. And we've got some great guests coming on, so it's not just me pontificating into a microphone, but having some good conversations. And so I'm so incredibly excited for that.
Nice. Yeah, your show is extremely informative, entertaining, and absolutely amazing, as you
Thank
are, and as my beard is. Why don't you give us what you can, because obviously we have to be discretionary in the information that we share, but about the family that we're trying to help out by auctioning or raffling this hat off, which should be pinned to the top of the comment section as soon as Ashley Greer Smoot pops in.
So yes. So we have a family, and part of being a libertarian is the idea that we take care of our own. We take care of our own society. We take care of others within our community. And so I've got a family that has been very close to me, that I've known them for years, and they're going through a pretty difficult court battle for family court to protect their youngest or their oldest child. And so as they're fighting through this process, it has been incredibly cumbersome and a financial just sinkhole, if you will, just naturally as how family courts go. And so they're actually at risk right now of actually, to give the update that I failed to send over to Matt Wright to get the GoFundMe updated, which we could get that into the comment section here in a second, but they have lost their last legal representative due to not being able to afford it. After spending more than $30,000 in the last year and a half, 2 years, they needed to put up a good chunk of money to begin with. It was $25,000 in order to just fulfill the retainer to have that legal representative follow them into trial, or to represent them in trial. And so they've lost that representative. They're fighting right now to get into a new legal representative so that they can maintain their daughter. And why this is so important is that if they are unable to, because of the state that they live in, if they're unable to go to this trial, it reverts back to a decision before, wherein this child may potentially be going back to a very volatile and destructive lifestyle because of the upbringing that she has gone through there. So it's incredibly important for us to be able to take some efforts, take our time, and build up for somebody within our own community and help out when we can. And so every little bit that we've been able to has been amazing. And to expand upon that, if I could real quick, before we get into the raffling, I did probably like a month ago, we did Pepper Pain for a Family's Gain on Muddy Waters of Freedom with Spike and Matt. And I ate Oh, so many peppers. The following day, I ate a piece of beef jerky that was well over 1 million Scoville units. And I said, if we make it to $5,000 in total, whether that is on the GoFundMe, whether that is sent over to my PayPal, which has been cleared out. So everything that goes into the PayPal is going to this family's fund, or through other means. If we got to that $5,000 mark, I would be eating a drop of this pepper, and it's called The End Flatline. And it is 7 million Scoville units, so 6 to 7 times hotter than that beef jerky. And sure as heck, we've hit it. So before he explains the raffle for tonight, I want to show you guys that red dot right there. That's gonna make me cry.
Yeah. I was gonna say, hold off for a second on that because I want you to be able to speak for a minute. And so, what we're doing is we're raffling up. There are only 31 tickets left. They're only $5 a ticket. Excuse me. And so these things are going to go fast. You're going to get this worthless hat that I will sign. That's also worthless. Maybe I throw in a written hand note, which is less worth than the other stuff. Doesn't matter. It's $5, people. $5 is $5. Throw in $5. Hope to get the hat, the original hat. I see somebody gave me some flack in the comment section because I did I did have one made, not to reveal my sources, but here is a new one. See, it's still got the sticker on it. It's never been worn. The very first piece of merchandise that was ever made for the Cajun Libertarian brand is sitting on my head and has been since just about day one. So that is what we're raffling off. It is very sentimental to me as my brand has grown exponentially, leaps and bounds beyond what I ever thought in a million years that it would. And so it does hold sentimental value to me, but more importantly, we're trying to help out a family in need. Roy Martin says, not worthless. It covers your bald head. Bro, I'm not bald. I have hair.
He had to pull it back all the way to the back of his head to find where it's receded to.
It's because it's
what?
Okay. I'll let you have that one, not to. You know what? Nah, since you said it, I'll say it too. But look, I can see the back of your scalp from the front of your scalp. I don't want to hear it. You know, we got the same problems. We got the same issues. Our beards are phenomenal. Our head hair is less than.
I would also like to add on this hat thing is that Cajun is a part of the Muddy Waters team, right? Cajun is a part of this Muddy Waters team, and so far, everybody who's been a part of the Muddy Waters team has been absolutely amazing, has been incredibly intelligent, who has not yet reached their fullest potential. And so as he is degrading himself of his value of today, come back next week and that hat's worth another 32 cents. Come back and come back in a decade and Cajun Libertarian is now like the Speaker of the House of the U.S. Congress and is just running things, right? So it's not just about the value of today, but it's the value of tomorrow. And Cajun Libertarian is going places that is undeniable at this point. And so you can literally have a hat right now that was from the very beginning of Cajun Libertarian, and now find me another hat out there that was there from the original Cajun Libertarian.
Yep, you won't find it.
One of a kind. I believe that raises the value quite a bit.
It is,
but
one of a kind.
What do I know?
I had it specially made. I had the second one specially made. Actually, to be honest with you, I had the second one specially made just because whoever wins the hat, if they didn't want one that was just filled with my nasty sweat, then actually I don't sweat that bad because it's always in here. But there are a few sweat lines. But if they wanted the brand new one, I'll still sign that. But probably people are going to want this one, and then I'll wear the new one. This is the very first piece of Cajun Libertarian merchandise ever made, and it has sat on my head for every show since it has arrived at my doorstep. And that does hold sentimental value. And thank you, Jason, for those amazing compliments. Except for the curse of being in politics. Don't do that. I'm not That's your
what's
job,
funny?
Man.
As we sit here and we talk about this, Spike Cohen 2 years ago when I first started here at Muddy Waters, we were having conversations, right? Matt was a former, I believe, vice chair for Florida.
Right.
I was a county chair here in South Carolina. And we literally had a conversation, the three of us. And Spike was like, look at you guys. You guys are doing all this politician-y things. And I'm sitting over here just being my radical anarchist self, like having a good time with it. And you know, he had no ambitions whatsoever to run. And we got him there to the SCLP presidential debate so we could cover it as Muddy Waters team. He hangs out with Vermin Supreme, and of course, the rest is history. Now we have the greatest vice presidential candidate the Libertarian Party has ever put up, because Spike Cohen said that he was never going to be a politician. And yet, when he went out there, he kicked ass. And so now it's just a matter of us, Muddy Waters team, and as, of course, you guys, the viewers as well, of encouraging Cajun Libertarian to continue to grow, continue to develop, and then go kick ass and take names just the same way.
That's correct. Big facts. Big facts. I am. Yeah, I'm fully. I get. You know, I give a lot of crap to Spike just because I know he's a big deal and he can take it. And but at the end of the day, I'm super honored to be here on the Muddy Waters crew with you and Matt Wright and Eskimo and Spike. And I said it at the convention that I hosted in Tunica. You know, I'm super proud to follow Spike's lead. I'm super proud to learn from you and Matt and Eskimo. She does way more research than I do as well. And so, how does that make you feel, Eskimo? She feels very arrogant about that. She feels very arrogant. She does more research than me.
It's gonna kill me still. We tried to cover that enough times at the beginning so that I would not die. Not gonna happen. I'm dying.
No, I have no plan for this process, right? Like, just whenever it piques my interest to slam that microphone into Nullick's face and ask her a stupid ass question, I'm gonna do that. How does that make you feel, Nullick? Thanks, Nullick. So, $5 a ticket. You can get a hat worn by me, signed by me, which will be insignia. I don't know if that's the right word. Insigniized. I will put my personal insignia. Signed. It will be signed, but it's insignia though. It's not an actual signature. I'll give y'all a backstory real quick, like 20 seconds. All of the electronic devices that I use all day long, including my phone for work, I have my personal insignia that I use, which is N-O. My first name is Noel, and then my last initial is O. And I do it as a cool little design. It's very cool. Came up with myself because apparently I'm a cool guy with pretty ingenuitive ideas. That's debatable. However, what's not debatable, it is a really cool insignia. I will sign that on this black hat with a white Sharpie, my personal insignia, not the Cajun Libertarian brand, unless the person that wins it specifically wants Cajun Libertarian. If not, then I will actually give you my personal insignia on the hat, and it will go straight to you. I will mail it straight to you. Look, this family needs tens of thousands of dollars. And we pumped out barely over 30, I think almost 40 tickets. We're right at 30 now. It's only at $5 a ticket, y'all. It's only going to give this family $175, but that's a lot of money because that's a huge
Where do they
increment.
go to put this in?
I'm waiting on them to pin it into the comments. If you can't find it in the comments yet, you can go straight to my page. It's pinned to the top of my page, the Cajun Libertarian. The Cajun Libertarian, the page with like 15,000 followers, not my profile. Please, it will not be on the profile. It's shared to my profile, yes, but it'll be much easier if you just go to my big page and just is pinned right to the top. I'll try to pin it to the Twitter as well. We're going to let this raffle run through the weekend. I would really like to sell these tickets out through the end of this episode. We will let it run through the weekend. I will announce the winner on Monday. The Cajun Libertarian Live, just a thought episode that I release every Monday. At the beginning of that episode, I will let everybody know who won, and then I will gather their information and send them the hat. And I have a secret present to send as well, along with, yes, a handwritten note from me, myself, the Cajun Libertarian, and a thank you letter for this family that I care very deeply about, and I want them to do the things that they have to do, right? Like Thomas Daniel Queter says, do the thing. Whatever the thing is in front of you that you need to do that thing. Well, right now, the thing we need to do is sell 30 more tickets. That's $5. $5 is $5. Please, It's
Did you say do the thing in front of you?
I did, but yeah, Go ahead. Is there anything else you want to add before you were indisposed for a few minutes?
No, that was a big ass drop, though. I'm really scared.
Yeah.
But no, yes, this is so incredibly important. While we're waiting to get those links put up there, if you guys go over to the Cajun Libertarians Facebook page, you guys will see it there. I actually just found it. I don't have a way of copying that. I don't know how to do that. I'm tech-tarded. But if you guys are looking to donate directly, let me put that. Oh no, I can't do that either. I gotta figure out how to make comments. But you guys can go to gofund.me/519CCC22 519CCC22, and that will take you right to the GoFundMe. You could if you want to make donations outside of the raffle, you make them directly there. And of course, you can find me, my PayPal that we've been using as a loophole for people who don't want to pay the fees of GoFundMe. You can always find me, PayPal, Mr. Bearded Truth. But without further ado, let's get into the rest of the show.
Let's get into the rest of the show.
Oh my God, it burned through.
Holy crap, it burned through the cracker. So while he eats that devastatingly ridiculous mouth of pain food, Janice in the comments says, I think there's a 5-ticket limit, and she is going to purchase 5 tickets. $25 on PayPal for 5 tickets, please. Good cause. Joe, thank you for posting the GoFundMe in the comment section. Thank you very, very much. I am working with 2 different screens right now, y'all, so please bear with me. I have never done anything like this before, but we will make it work. The other one is there he goes. There he goes. A lap tablet. So I'm actually touch screening this laptop. So, yes, $5 is $5 while you watch Jason die. So
$5.
When he did this for the family a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and he ate all those peppers, you can imagine how much his mouth was on fire. And by extension, you could probably clairvoyantly see or get a good visual of the future, which is still the past. But right now, if you didn't hear about it, it's in the future for your mind. That him on the toilet the next day was probably something similar to him sitting or hovering above the 7th gate of hell as these peppers begin to exit his lower intestines into the toilet.
Yep.
And now he's dying.
Yep. No, that is. Oh my God. No, that's terrible.
Yeah. Looks bad.
My mouth is on fire. It's cool. Let's roll.
Let's roll. We'll give Jason a break for a minute as we start to dip off into what we have tonight. So I have worked a bunch of overtime this month in the blistering heat of South Mississippi in August. It's just incredible. But I love this so much, and I love what we do is so important that it doesn't really matter, except for the fact that I did not have time to extrapolate the content out of these articles and information that I want. So I'm just going to cherry pick it as we go along here. T-Mobile says at least 47 million current and former customers have been affected by a hack. T-Mobile has confirmed that millions of current and former customers had their information stolen in a data breach. In a statement, T-Mobile, which has more than 100 million customers, said its preliminary analysis shows 7.8 million current post-paid T-Mobile customers had information taken in the data breach. The carrier said that some personal data was taken, including customer names, dates of birth, social security numbers, and driver's license information for a subset of current and former post-paid customer and prospective T-Mobile customers. The company also said that 40 million records of former and prospective customers was taken, but that no phone numbers, account numbers, PINs, passwords, or financial information were compromised. here is where the kicker comes, right? Ready for the fun part? The company warned that approximately 850,000 active T-Mobile customer names, phone numbers, account pins were in fact compromised, and that customers' names, phone numbers, and account pins were exposed. T-Mobile said it has reset those customers' pins, and they are recommending all postpaid customers to proactively change their account pin. Vice reported this weekend that T-Mobile was investigating a possible hack after a seller on a known criminal forum claimed to be in possession of millions of records. The seller told Vice they had 100 million records of T-Mobile customers, which included customer account names, phone numbers, and the IMEI numbers of the phones on the account. T-Mobile warns that there could be more fallout to come, noting that it confirmed there was some additional information from inactive prepaid accounts accessed through prepaid billing files, but did not say what, only that it was not financial information. So if you are a T-Mobile customer at this present time, past or present, and apparently or future,
you're at risk.
Yeah.
So I actually got that text yesterday.
Wow.
T-Mobile has determined that unauthorized access to some of your personal data has occurred. And we have no evidence that your debit card or credit card information was compromised. We take protection of our customers seriously. Woo. We are taking actions to protect your T-Mobile account, and we recommend that you take action to protect your credit card. Read more here.
Probably, yeah. So I don't. The reason I bring this up, y'all, is because with all the stuff that's going on between coronavirus and Afghanistan, this one might have slipped through the cracks for you. It just might have. By the way, another company that you can visit, Defy the Power. You see, I have a Defy the Power mug right here, which I can take a nice, wonderful sip of my diabetic-friendly throat wetter from defythepower.com. Got it in Tunica. And my mouth does not burn as much as Jason's because I have a defythepower.com mug in my hand. Back to T-Mobile. Yeah. Ooh. This is
While you finish up with T-Mobile, I'll give me one moment, please.
Yeah, go ahead. This isn't the first time that T-Mobile has dealt with this. So I'm not an advocate against T-Mobile here, right? I have no idea their infrastructure, but at this point, it sounds pretty bad, right? It sounds pretty bad. I mean, it's not really a laughing matter. I'm more laughing at Jason and T-Mobile's just absolute. Look, I've read it straight from the website there, or straight from the article. 100 million account users minimum. T-Mobile. Pay for security, man. Like, come on. This is absurd. The fact that this is multiple times now you've dealt with hacks in your infrastructure system. That's a problem. It's a real problem, T-Mobile. We need to correct that problem. And for everyone that's listening and watching right now, I would do the things that we just talked about doing in regards to your T-Mobile account if you are, in fact, a T-Mobile customer.
What's amazing about T-Mobile is that so many people are attracted to them because they're the unnetwork or the uncarrier, if you will. They're very casual with the way they handle things. They're not in your face, and so there's definitely a reason. Definitely a reason why people want to go to T-Mobile, and they give a lot of discounts. So I actually have a business discount for being Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. I also have a veteran discount, and so being able to stack discounts like that is fantastic. And so they are on the cheaper side compared to some of the other businesses out there. So it sucks for people that are in need of a somewhat reputable phone carrier, but at the same time, you're coming with those risks. And so, of course, as we have this guy dying,
What's very pale right?
yeah, but as people are trying to find areas to move to, T-Mobile has shown, as you said, they have a record of not being very good at stopping those hackers. So take that as you guys are figuring out who you want to move to, as people are moving around from phone carrier to phone carrier.
I highly suggest you do not gravitate towards whatever it is that Jason, Mr. Beard of Truth, just put in his mouth. Probably a bad idea.
It's a terrible idea.
Seems like a bad idea. Yep. But we do a lot of bad ideas and a lot of bad things for good causes. And that's the point. $5 is $5. And 100 million Scovilles is 100 million Scovilles for the right cause. We need another like 10 grand. And we're going to try to knock out $175 worth of that 10 grand a night. So please buy a ticket, a raffle ticket. Should be in the comment section. If not, it's at the pin to the top of the Cajun Libertarian page. Hopefully, Ashley will have the details posted in the comment section here in the chat. Again, you can go straight to my page, The Cajun Libertarian, and find the raffle setup right there pinned to the top. You can also donate straight to the family. Jason Lyon put his PayPal in there. He will get that money straight to the family. Same system as I have done several times. You guys have embraced it. Just PayPal me, and I send it straight to him. Same concept here. PayPal Jason. It gets straight to there.
Yep.
I would
absolutely.
Just take 1 minute while Jason continues to recover, Mr. Bearded Truth, Mr. Murray.
It's going to be all night recovery.
Yeah, it's gonna be all night recovery. Yeah, it's going to be an all night recovery. I just wanted to show you. I don't know if you've seen this picture yet, Jason, but I wanted to show it to you. You know who that is?
That looks like a younger Jack Casey.
That is a younger Jack Casey.
It's not a Jack Casey people want to see. It's his leg. Is that his foot that's bent weird? Is he wearing capris?
That's right. There it is. Yes, he's wearing capris. That's my biggest.
He's wearing capris.
No chest hair, and he's wearing capris. Yes, my biggest criticism.
He needs to be wearing a bra if he's wearing capris. All right,
or even just seashell pasties. Right, something. He's wearing capris. Cover up the nips. Cover up the nips, man.
Nipplegate. Back over again. We're starting this back up again.
Nipplegate. So I would like the all infamous, famous, and wonderfully beloved, as Thomas Daniel Queter likes to put it, the chubby cheeks of justice. Give us the best, absolute, most phenomenal ad read for Jack Casey and the royalgreen.com that anybody has ever had. Eskimo, give us the best Jack Casey ad read. Great ad read. Noah, you are fantastic. Thank you so much. That was absolutely the best ad read I've ever heard for the royalgreen.com. And she is delightful. That you all enjoyed it as well. That is a fact. I'm not sure how much Jason is enjoying / dying. I tell you what, he's not stuck in a wheelchair with upside down feet. Thomas Queter is, though. Tom for 52.com, TOMFOR52.com. There's no quit in Queter. Thomas Daniel Queter for Senate. If you don't know, he's running for the 52nd District of New York State for Senate, and he is very much in a wheelchair as a midget that gets his bones broken very easily with upside down feet. What else you may not know about Thomas Queter? He is absolutely brilliant and deserves to be in the 52nd District Senate of New York State. So please go to tomfor52.com, hit the donate button, smash the donate button at tomfor52.com. That's TOMFOR52.com. There's no quit in Queter. Thomas Daniel Queter for Senate, New York. Now that's a phenomenal ad read.
Much better than Nolix over there.
I thought it was pretty great.
It was good. It was good. But
it's the best Jack Casey ad read I've ever heard. TomFor52.com. Yeah, that's a good ad read. So, in keeping with the theme of, I guess there isn't really a theme, but we'll go to it. We'll go to it real quick. Let's talk about New Zealand for a second. This isn't uncommon in that region, though, right? Like we see Australia kind of doing the same thing, but we're going to show y'all some graphics that are going to make a lot of sense to you. And we're going to talk about a few things that do not make sense to you. I'll be very quick with this because we are actually already to almost 40 minutes and we want to get to the Afghanistan papers because that is what matters. So, New England has entered full lockdown mode.
New Zealand?
Full. New Zealand, the country that apparently we have no idea even existed prior to however it is that I came across this article and had to reach out to the nationally syndicated publishers of said articles and radio ads to find out what the hell they were talking about because I had no idea what New Zealand was before today. Apparently, to some people on Twitter, that's news.
It was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. So, New Zealand has entered full lockdown mode. Why is that important? I'll tell you why it's important. Give me 10 seconds. After recording its first case of the Delta variant, they got one case and they shut the whole country down.
Yep.
They shut the whole country down after a case. Jason, you know, in the past, New Zealand has a track record.
New Zealand and Australia both, like, they run eerily similar to each other in which they're like over dramatic. And what's crazy about it, right, is we understand like COVID is a thing, right? COVID exists. COVID is detrimental. COVID, you need to take some precautions, right? My family, we're taking a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, taking some zinc, and we're taking precautions in order to minimize our risk of COVID. We're limiting how much we're going off and doing body shots off of random strangers, right? We're trying to mitigate our risks as much as possible, but we're also not just giving up the economy. We're not just giving up a life and just sitting in a room going, oh my God, COVID's out there. But you have certainly some mindsets out there that are COVID's out there. Why have we not locked everybody in their own little separate room and we'll send the police out day and night to cover all of these things? And I've got a buddy that lives down in Australia, down in Sydney, and he's another fellow podcaster who I hope to have on as well. But you know, he's been doing every day of lockdown and just talking about the experiences there. And it's scary how Australia and New Zealand are so symmetrical on this, right? Of just shut down everyone's life. You guys don't need to live. There's a virus out there. My mouth is done.
A virus that still globally maintains a 98+ percentile chance of survival. So we are ruining people's lives. We are wrecking countries' economies over a 98 point. I'm being generous there, right?
Very generous, because here's the thing that like a lot of people have missed in all of this is that we know that there are people that carry COVID that are asymptomatic the entire time. Now, how many people have been tested that were just asymptomatic? You just woke up and was like, I want to swab my nose today. Like, and I don't want to use my own Q-tips. I want to go use my insurance in order to get a swab. And I want to have somebody else swab my nose for me. You know, yep. So we have so many cases out there of COVID that have never even been, nobody has any idea has ever occurred. Exactly. And so as a result of that, the number of cases has been inflated. We also know that there have been plenty of pharmacies that do this testing that have been known that, hey, we're popping positives and it's not real. So false positive. So we've had inflation on the cases. And we've had we've had more people that have had COVID that have not been tested and known. But we've also have numbers that are not accurate because they're even expanded beyond because we haven't ever gone back to check up on it. It's as soon as you pop positive, right? Go into quarantine for 2 weeks. We'll see you. Hopefully you can survive. Hopefully your job will still take care of you. Hopefully they're going to follow the laws and everything else, and they don't find a reason to fire you and everything else. So you could get your life together. Don't worry. You could do it in just 2 weeks, though. Don't worry about today. And so that 98 percentile, I mean, the number is sitting right around 99, I think, and it's even further, it's even smaller than that of a mortality rate, and that's important. And we also look at the mortality rates. These are people by their age demographics. These are trending right along with it. So it's a really weird situation of we need to be super fearful of it. It's like you don't need to be super fearful of it. You need to understand it. You need to kind of work within your own and work within your community to minimize your risk. But at the end of the day, like, you can't just give up life for the fear of losing it.
Yeah. And that's essentially what we're talking about here. Here's my concern is that a country like New Zealand and Australia, which you and I have both seen the graphics before we've posted them here. It does not, they're going to look, and it's already in the article here, many articles. They're already promulgating the idea that these lockdowns, these full-scale, 100% totalitarianism lockdowns work, and they're going to reference countries like New Zealand and Australia. That's a valid point to bring up. So let me get through the rest of the title here, and then I'll show you all the graphics. The country hasn't seen a single locally transmitted COVID-19 case since February. New Zealand imposed a strict initial lockdown last year, barring almost all out-of-country visitors. Notice the word placement. They tell you entered full lockdown mode after recording its first case of Delta variant. Very catchy. Gets you. Good journalism.
Yeah.
Bad journalism as far as truth concerns. But good journalism if you want to get people's attention. Second sentence, the country hadn't seen a single locally transmitted COVID-19 case since February. Now that's where they get you because they say, oh my God, full lockdown mode. What's going on? First case of Delta variant. Then they tell you they haven't seen a single transmitted case since February. Then you're like, oh my God, holy crap, maybe this works. Then New Zealand imposed a strict initial lockdown last year, barring almost all out-of-country visitors. New Zealand is now one of the last countries to encounter the Delta variant. Prime Minister Ardern, I'm not going to try her first, Jacinda, maybe. I don't speak New Zealand. Probably Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. I don't speak Kiwi either. I eat Kiwi. I don't speak it.
The whole island of New Zealand's going to be mad at us now.
Yeah. More than 142 countries have encountered Delta so far, according to the World Health Organization. Here's a quote from the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Delta has been called a game changer, and it is, Ardern said. Where? Show me the stats. They're not there. Show me, especially when it comes to children, specifically.
It's a game changer. The only reason why it's a game changer is because they came out with a vaccine that was like somewhat effective against like the older variant, like not even like fully yeah. So they skewed data and they made everything else to make it look more as a good strong defense there. And then the Delta variant came through, and of course it's a mutation, it's a different thing, and so that same vaccine's not working at the same effective rate, but they're still keeping the skewed data, and so it's a game changer, guys. It changed. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a game changer because it changed. Cool. Like,
that's literally it.
Yeah,
that's literally it. The country, make no mistake, the media is going to reference the success of New Zealand and Australia by absolutely going full-blown tyranny and authoritarianism. And literally Australia right now is sending military and police out into the streets to make sure that people are locked in their homes. It's unreal. We're going to show you a couple of graphics here in a second. Go ahead.
I do want to say, like, it would be incredibly effective if New Zealand and Australia would just populate their entire islands. I don't know if you have a graphic available for that, but
yeah, we got a couple of them.
If they were just to populate their entire island where they had a mile between each and every one of them, there's no way that they would be able to transfer it. And then you could just like, I don't know how you'd have commerce, but yeah. So the problem has always been is whenever governments talk about being successful around COVID, right? Are they single-minded on this? Are they pinpoint targeting one aspect of this of we want to end COVID cases and that's the only thing we want to do? Then sure, right? Locking everybody down, you throw everybody in their own singular padded cell, you throw food through a little vent, and you just have no interactions with other people. And if you could somehow function that, sure, you can beat COVID. Cool. But the problem is that you can't be laser sighted on that, because when you have circumstances where you're locking people in their homes, right? I realize we're going to go way over time, but whatever. You guys are ready for this. I'm ready for this. Let's do this. But when you lock people in their homes, right? Let's not even worry about outside the doors, but inside the homes, right? You have a higher suicide rate. We've seen this in America. We've seen this across the country where people cannot handle staying locked in their homes. They commit suicide. You have a higher domestic violence rate. You have rape. You have divorces. You have to where people are not accustomed to being in the same 5 foot by 5 foot, 10 foot by 10 foot, 20 foot by 20 foot area. And they go insane. And so you say, yeah, it's only for 2 weeks. Well, that 2 weeks turns into 2 months. That 2 months has now turned into 2 years for some people. I mean, Michigan probably is still in their first lockdown. I mean, Governor Whitmer is just not letting go. But the point is that when you want to govern over a body of people, you cannot be so focused on one aspect of it, because you're going to have catastrophic losses everywhere else. I'm trying to remember who the quote was from, but there are no solutions, only trade-offs. And if your trade-off is that you don't give a damn about everybody, you just want to end the coronavirus so that you can brag about it, then cool, pat yourself on the back and beat yourself up with your medal because you're an idiot. Like, you can't just give up on the people and then say, well, I care about you, I just want to end the coronavirus. That's not there's nothing there that makes me want you to be to have you around me anymore.
Yep, that's a fact. That's just so finishing the quote here. It means we need to no, don't be. It's great. This is from the Prime Minister of Australia. Delta has been called a game changer, and it is. Arden says it means we need to again go hard and early to stop the spread. We have seen what can happen elsewhere if we fail to get on top of it. We only get one chance. That's false. Nope. None of that's real.
You only get one chance.
Yoko, you only get one chance. So here is an image that I snatched off of Google about 10 minutes before we went live. This is not mine. I didn't make it. This is somebody else's, and it is very applicable. There you go.
So the green. Spread out. Move to the green.
The green. That's math right there. That's numbers. That's math for everyone at 2C. And whoever made this graphic says nobody lives here. All of the green is where nobody lives.
80%.
80%. 80%. Australia, maybe worse.
They're just living along the coast. I don't blame you for wanting to live on the coast and having those sick waves. I'm all for it, right? Surfing is a huge thing in the culture. I'm all for it. But you've got like that town right smack dab in the center.
Yeah. It's like a little bitty dot right there. But all the other math is over here. There's where the numbers are.
Yeah.
So it's not applicable. Don't listen to it. If you want to listen to anything about Australia has to say, go listen to gun control. Now that the police and military is roaming the streets because nobody's armed. That's a math fact.
Well, here's a common misnomer about Australia that I've learned. So yes, they had their buyback and they had all this other stuff. They actually have more guns in Australia now than before they had their buyback.
Right.
They're armed once again. It's just they don't ever pull them out. It's a cultural thing there of like, yeah. We'll get into Australian politics in another day and culture in another day. But clearly, we just don't know about it. It's the country north of China.
Yeah, we don't know about it at all. Nobody lives here. That's New Zealand. Locked their entire country down with one case of COVID. There's Australia doing the same thing. And I would like to proudly say that these numbers and math were brought to you by one of the greatest philosophical orators of our generation, Lil Wayne. Numbers don't lie. Thank you, Lil Wayne. No, they don't. Not when they're accurate. So that math segment was brought to you by Lil Wayne. Again, phenomenal philosophical orator, as you can clearly see right there. Hey, Eskimo, what are your feelings on Lil Wayne? Oh, he's the greatest songbird of our generation. That's probably debatable, but you're entitled to your opinion. In other news, Washington football team decided they came down to the last few names of what they wanted to call themselves, and they're all terrible. Just stay with Washington football team. Washington Armada, Brigade, Commanders, Defenders, Presidents, Red Hogs, Red Wolves. So we go Warmonger, 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 Pink Hogs, and Reddish Wolves. I don't know who's running the PR department at the Washington football organization. The Washington Redskins is what they're formerly known as, because apparently that was offensive.
Super racist.
Fire them. This is my toddler could come up with better football names than this. All of these are abhorrent. And out of this list, they've narrowed it down to 3 that they haven't talked about yet. So they went from this list. Nope, let me back up. They went from Washington Redskins to this list to say, yeah, we're good with this list. We'll narrow it down to 3. Oh, my God. Fire your PR person. They're all terrible. Just stay Washington football team. Matter of fact, you're a terrible football organization anyway. Just secede. That's the thing now, right?
I want to see the Washington presidents and then just see like them come out in wheelchairs one day, like come out and Secret Service is just escorting them. Like, you can't hit these players. Don't touch them. Like, I want the full rendition of it. Like, these are presidents of the United States. Like, you go to like sack the quarterback and Secret Service tackles you and just like beat you up. Like, I want this.
That would be a great 12-minute cartoon. South Park, I hope you're listening. Which I've got some South Park material coming up soon. I imagine they're going to be covering that. Oh. What an atrocious list of names. Armada, Brigade, Commanders, Defenders, Presidents, Red Hogs, and Red Wolves. For some reason, they decided they wanted to keep the term red and not the term skins, as apparently, well, I got that ass backwards. It was red to the skins that was apparently offensive, not actual skins.
They need to just keep it Washington football team because how stupid they are. Like, for real. Like, just we've got Cleveland Browns. What does Browns stand for? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Washington football team. All right. You represent kind of the arguably like one of the worst parts of the country. And so you don't get a good team.
Not the worst.
Sorry. You don't get to be the Titans. You don't get to be the Aints. You don't get to be the what?
Oh,
wow. Oh. You talking to Nolly?
The world, you talking about the World Championship Saints?
No, that's cute. Anyways,
the Hall of Fame quarterback, top 3 greatest quarterback of all time. Moving on. By the way, top 3 Super Bowl champion. Greatest stat leader of all time in Drew Brees at the quarterback position. Not arguable. That's direct math. Thank you for that math, Lil Wayne. Numbers don't lie.
Boom! Synced it. That was beautiful.
On to Afghanistan Papers, which everybody wants to hear about, and we are at an hour.
Perfect. So, as we've been seeing in the news the last week or so, Afghanistan has made its way back into being something that's driven a lot of us to have conversations around it, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or, of course, as you guys are here, Libertarian. We all have our views and everything else. And what I've noticed personally, and what I've been grateful when people have been bringing this back up, is the conversation around the Afghanistan Papers. If you guys missed this, don't worry. You're like a lot of people. This was brought out in quiet. It was brought forth by the mainstream media itself. The Washington Post had to fight in a 3-year legal battle in order to get a little over 2,000, I think it was like 2,110 pages of quote unquote lessons learned, in which the government actually did some documentation over what we'd been doing in Afghanistan at that point for the last 18 years to be able to learn the lessons of it. So when we get into another country and we continually say that we're not going to nation build, and then we start nation building, how to actually handle that and to do this a little more efficiently, a little more effectively, and a little more being a little more effective with the cost, because what we've seen is over $2 trillion be spent in Afghanistan in 20 years. What we've seen is well over 100,000 deaths in Afghanistan, whether that is the Afghani military, the security forces, whether that is U.S. troops, whether that is U.S. contractors, or just civilians, and of course the terrorists, as we've labeled them. So this giant 2,000-page document finally got released back in 2019, and it was never talked about. It was never pushed. It was never something that like really garnered a lot of attention, and it needed to be, because what we learned from the Afghanistan Papers, and you guys are going to hear more about this, is that the government had no idea what they were doing there. But what they did know was what they were doing was not helping the cause. And so if you are sitting in a situation, if you're sitting in a circumstance where you have nothing in front of you to say that's where we need to go, but all you were doing is leaving death and destruction in your wake, it might be a good idea to pull out. Now, we had a President Obama talking about how we're going to pull out 10,000 troops and we're going to leave a small group there just to be able to keep things going, keep the training going with Afghanistan. He clearly did not. We had President Trump. He did pull out some troops and they moved them around in the Middle East. We've seen some shuffling of troops, if you will. Saw President Trump come in. He said, I'm going to end the troops there in Afghanistan. And it ramped back up to 13,000 troops, so we still had a good amount of troops there. So we clearly didn't end it there. And now we had Joe Biden that was just like, meh, we're going to pull them all out. and so I'm not saying like there's a good way to do this. And I'm not saying that Joe Biden in any way did it the right way, right? First, you want to get your equipment out. First, you want to get your troops out. First, you want to get the Americans out. And then you want to see if there's people that you want to take out and be able to going to seek refuge, because they're going to be murdered by the Taliban. We know this. They're going to be murdered by other entities. There's going to be a giant civil war. There's opportunities there for us as a country to be able to provide some support. And it doesn't mean that we have to give them like a heavy amount of social safety nets or et cetera. Like we don't have to fund them in any major way. But there's basic things that should have been done there by Joe Biden and by his administration. They failed on that. So they pulled out, and this has caused everybody across the spectrum to go just absolutely insane. And so these documents are still up on the Washington Post. If you get stuck behind a paywall, let me know. I will be more than happy to provide that for you. I don't believe in the necessity of an organization that has the quote of their slogan is "Democracy dies in darkness," but we'll only shed light on you if you pay us a sum of money. So I'm willing to openly say this. I might get my account banned for that. Good luck finding it. But But the thing is that these are incredible documents, and so I want to read some of you guys some of these quotes from this. These are officials, these are government officials that are sitting around here that are believing that they're saying these things in secret, that they're never going to be released to the public. This required the Washington Post, after getting some information, to file for a Freedom of Information Act request, right? A FOIA request. And this is just as it sounds, right? This is one law that actually follows through with the intentions of its meaning, where you ask for information and you have the freedom as a taxpayer or as a person to be able to sue, to have information be given to you. And so they use the FOIA in order to collect this information. And one of the biggest things is that these interviews reveal that there was no consensus on the war's objectives, let alone how to end the conflict. So if you have no end goal there, we're going to have a lot of issues. And of course, as we discuss this, I know I'm dominating a little bit here. Cajun, if you want to hop in at any moment, feel free to do so. I've got a good bit of information here, but you're always more than welcome. And I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as well if you guys have any questions or want me to go back and cover it at all. You guys will also more than welcome to hop onto the podcast. Any of your favorite podcast apps, you guys can come back and watch this show again. And of course, if you're watching this live, it'll be back up in a minute shortly after we end, and you can go back and see it again. So how many different ways can we lie about what's going on in Afghanistan? Well, the government tried literally every one of them. They lied to us to give us comfort, right? We've seen a very common trend of bad situations where government says, hey, look, it's not that bad. If we can use the coronavirus, right? Trump said that, just magically coronavirus is going to disappear. And that it was just a weapon to be used against him, right? And there's still many people out there that believe this, that it was just purely for political aim, that this virus was created in Wuhan, China, and it was used as a means to get President Trump out of office, and it just went awry, which is why it's still here, right? Okay, that's really far-fetched, but if that's your belief, whatever. Point is that President Trump said, look, it's not that big of a deal. You're going to get it. You're going to be fine. Yes, a lot of people will. But there's still some precautions that should be taken. It's not just a matter of we're going to wake up one day and it's going to be gone. We've seen lies around a lot of the circumstances. But what they did here was several of those interviews described explicit and sustained efforts by the U.S. government to deliberately mislead the public. They said it was common at military headquarters in Kabul and at the White House to distort statistics to make it appear the United States was winning the war when it was not the case. Every data point was altered to present the best picture possible. Bob Caldwell, an Army colonel who served as a senior counterinsurgency advisor to the U.S. military commanders in 2013 and 2014, told government interviewers, surveys, for instance, were totally unreliable, but reinforced that everything we're doing was right and that we became a self-licking ice cream cone.
That's a great analogy.
John Sopko, the head of the federal agency that conducted the interviews, acknowledged to the Post that the documents showed the American people have constantly been lied to. What we hear from government officials, right, is that we're turning a corner, we're making progress, we're growing on our efforts, and we're finding success, right? We're killing the terrorists, right? When terrorists come and they attack, right? I'm sure many of us have seen throughout the years of watching the news and seeing the topic of Afghanistan come up, right? When Afghanistan, when there's a terrorist attack against the U.S. military or against the people of Afghanistan, right? Their military, their security, or whoever, right? There's always an excuse around it, right? Oh, this one was a sloppy kill. This was a sloppy attack because they're just becoming, they're becoming frantic, or they're becoming panicked and radical, and so that's why they did this, right? They're on their heels right now. They're up against the ropes. We've got them now, right? We've seen where, they're just like, oh, well, this was the reason, that was the reason. No, the reason was that they're still a strong force in the region. They've been a force in the region the entire time. We just continue to change up the facts and change up the story, change up the narrative in order to make it look like America was doing a lot better than what it was. This has been going on for 20 years. We've known that it has not been going our way for 20 years. There was quotes at 6 months after invading into Afghanistan, after invading into Iraq, that we were like, man, we don't have a clear objective here. what are we actually going to do? How are we going to have an exit strategy?
So we could probably spend, and we probably should. We probably should do like a 3-month series on the Afghanistan Papers because it would require 3 months of episodes for us to flesh everything out. But it's funny going back because this is the way our media works, our politicians work. They repeatedly said, and I heard a lot of the clips going through over and over and over and over again. We're turning the corner. 20 years of we're turning the corner. They habitually fed us lies on what was actually going on in Afghanistan. I hope I'm not stepping on your toes here, but
no.
Look, the Afghanistan is. I heard this referenced earlier. This was like yesterday, I think. Afghanistan is like the Bermuda Triangle of empires, right?
Yes.
Like everybody that goes into that country fails. There's a huge reason for that because geopolitically and geographically, that is an unsuccessful territory to try to obtain, regardless of your military stance. And we've seen that. The United States has the greatest military the world has ever seen, and we still couldn't do the job because you're dealing with people that don't even have roads. They don't have bridges. They're all goat paths and buried in the wilderness. This is an impossible feat. They knew that. They still continued to try to spin it as if we were ever winning the war, and we were never winning this war.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The infrastructure there has been broken, right? If you guys go and dive into this, there's a man, Crocker, Barry Crocker, I think it was. But he was one of the first guys to come into the area, into Afghanistan, and he highlights on the issues around Afghanistan. Now, after 1979, when Russia left, Soviet Russia, when they left and were kicked out of Afghanistan, we left, right? We were not there anymore. So from 1979 to 2001, we have no idea what was going on in Afghanistan. We had no idea of the culture of what was going on there. We didn't know that corruption was literally at every single level of society. We didn't know how the networking worked. We didn't have people that would speak Darcy. We didn't have people that would speak I don't want to butcher it. It starts with a P and I forgot the language. But there's two major languages there. Pashto, there we go. Which, side story, I used to actually work on Fairbanks or Fort Wainwright, Alaska. I actually worked with a company that was creating translators back in 2007, 2008. I actually worked on building little translators that went on your belt, and it worked on Pashto and Darcy. So I mean, it was really cool to see those names pop up again. But so we didn't know the language. We didn't have any means of having connections for networking purposes, for gathering intel. So we basically went into this giant corrupt area and was like, hopefully you guys will work with us because we're America. We're here to help you and free you and all that stuff. Didn't happen, right? We were taken advantage of at every twist and every turn. I mean, the interpreters, they were taking money from us. They were gouging the Americans and being like, oh, they became large profiteers from this endeavor. We were working with corrupt warlords in the area in order to go after other warlords, to go after other terrorist groups. So we were literally pitting the bad guys against bad guys and just paying them money. And we've talked about this when we talk about a lot of our foreign entanglements, that we help the bad guys, and then those bad guys, after they receive money from us, after they receive weapons, after they receive armaments, after they receive the munitions, after they receive the victuals, after they receive all of these supplies and goods and tech and everything else, they then turn on us. So we've been doing this for 20 years in the region. There are some of the worst people in Afghanistan that we were partnering with because we wanted to go after this other terrible person.
Yep.
So we had no idea what the hell we were doing from the very beginning. And as I said, right, we went in and George Bush was like, we are not nation building. And then he left office and Obama came in and he said, we are not nation building. And he left office and Trump went in and he said, we are not nation building. We were nation building the whole damn time.
Whole time.
We were destroying schools. We were destroying buildings. We were destroying roads. They were destroying buildings. They were destroying schools. They were destroying the roads. And then we went along and built them back up just to have another war there 15 days later. We continue to do this. And we said, well, as long as we have the right intentions, as long as we have good intentions, we'll come out on top. And as you were talking about a second ago, this is the Bermuda Triangle. There has never been an empire, right? Even going back to the Romans, they could not conquer in Afghanistan. This is not a place you want to go to for whatever reason. If you are a religious person, if you're a theocratic person, your God is telling you not to go to Afghanistan. So if you want to support our troops, maybe don't support it the way Joe Biden pulled out, but you got to support the pullout. You got to save our people.
Yeah, that's super important. I've said this repeatedly. I will continue to say it. The pullout was absolutely necessary. The pullout is absolutely the right thing that should have been done a long time ago. The way we did it was absolutely atrocious. And everything that I'm hearing from top to bottom was that Biden absolutely knew exactly what would happen if he did it this way. He did not listen. You even have liberal media right now going at the Biden admin for the way that it was pulled out because it was wrong. It was terrible. It was absolutely atrocious. Is that the right thing to do? Pull out of Afghanistan? Yes, should have done a long time ago because no, we're not supposed to be in the business of nation building. Do you just abandon everything? No.
Yeah. Yeah, just leave American troops there. Just leave the equipment there. Just pull out some planes. See if you can drag some Afghan people from the sides and from the wheel wells of those, and just pull out and everything will be fine. And then I wish I would have thought of it. Pull up the interview recently with George Wallace. President Joe Biden sat down with George Wallace and goes, George Wallace was like, well, you had people hanging off the edge of planes and falling off. And he was like, man, that was like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yep.
That is the end all arguments, right? You can't beat that anymore. That was 4 or 5 days ago. Why are you talking about this, man? News cycles on a 36 hours at most. And you're talking about something that was like 3 news cycles ago? Like, come on, bro. Yep, like at this point, what difference does it make?
Yeah, I actually tweeted about it, and so I was listening to it. I listened to it many times over. Right, it was like, holy crap! This has some serious Hillary and Benghazi vibes to it. Like that was 4 or 5 days ago. What are you talking about? And dude says, you don't think there was anything we could have done better? Biden says, no. Wait, what? There was nothing we could have done. Look, right now, no, I'm not going to say that. I want to go into that later. Anyway,
between Benghazi, between Afghanistan, between Iraq, between Yemen, where just in case we have any big Trump supporters in the room, I want to say like President Trump supported genocide. In Yemen, we've had an attempted genocide by Saudi Arabia since 2014. This started under Obama, where he expedited arms deals with Lockheed Martin and all of them to send missiles, to send intelligence, to send military members, to send military equipment to help Saudi Arabia blow the fuck out of the Yemen. And so we've had well over 100,000 children killed in Yemen. We have a population that's starving, that doesn't have medical support, that doesn't have water, that doesn't have the ability to sustain itself. And it finally came up to Congress, right? Who's never had a say on this in any way, shape, or form. And without going into the constitutionality of Congress has the power, presidents don't, to declare war. They came together with a bipartisan resolution to pull us out of supporting the genocide going on by Saudi Arabia in Yemen. And President Trump vetoed it, citing that we are making too much money off of these arms deals with Saudi Arabia. So we've had this issue where presidents are just willing to justify bad actions because either A, it's profitable, which really shows the military complex that we have, or B, because they're like, well, we need to have clear, objectionable reasons to get out. And so as much as I hate the way Joe Biden got out, and as terrible as it is, I'm going to receive some flack for this, and I completely accept it. I would rather us pull out the way that Joe Biden did than to not pull out and continue on down this path, because it's putting good Americans at risk for a cause that we have no fucking clue about, that we have no idea about. Being there for 20 years, we were the blind leading the blind. And it shows when we talk about the training that was going on there. When we were training military people, or when we were training the civilians to become military, to become security forces, right? We didn't know about the culture to be able to give them good skills or good tactics to be able to handle this. But we also knew that we did not put it as an early enough priority there. So the numbers weren't high enough. So there wasn't a good vetting system. Maybe they were vetting it too much, but regardless, there wasn't enough people there early on. And so that wasn't looking good enough in the media. So they ramped up the recruitment efforts. And there was also some corruption where officers of the Afghani side were claiming that people were there that weren't there so that they could pocket more money, so they can get more funding, so they can get more resources, so they can get more supplies, et cetera, et cetera. But we knew that we were not only training people who had no desires, right? No desire, that after this training, they were just going to take their equipment and go home. They had no intention on ever fighting for their country, fighting for their safety, fighting for their freedom, fighting against the groups that we've deemed to be the worst. But then we also were training people within those groups that we thought were the worst, right? We were training actual terrorists because we were like, well, we basically just need butts and seats, and we need to teach people. And so there was a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse. There was a lot of people there being trained that were planning on coming back and killing American soldiers, killing the Afghani military. They were sending rats in like crazy. So we had no fucking clue of anything going on in Afghanistan. And so for me, like, I feel terrible saying it, but I would rather pull out just fucking terribly rather than stick around and give it another 20 years.
So to that point, I will say this. I will offer a different perspective. This isn't a binary option, but if we have to go with the two, then yes, I would rather pull out and figure it out with it, instead of being there another 20 years. Yes. But there was not a binary option here. There were many layered options to which this administration could have taken. And I posted a meme that I stole from somebody, and I had flack in the comments talking about, you're making this political, right? It was the Afghan, it was the Taliban guy standing next to the Apache helicopter, and somebody had photoshopped a riding with Biden flag on there. And like, oh, you don't think that Trump would have done the same thing? Well, Trump he was president for 4 years. He didn't do that. Not justifying his reasons. I'm saying he had 4 years to do the exact same maneuver. He didn't do it. There's a right way to handle this. This was not the right way. The way that Trump did it wasn't the right way. The way Obama did it wasn't the right way. The way that Bush did it wasn't the right way. None of it was done effectively. And I think what you and I should do is go into that series now that we talk about it even more, because there's so much to flesh out of these Afghanistan papers. And whether or not, whatever your feelings are on Michael Flynn, the dude in the Afghanistan papers was spot on. He was there. He was right on.
I earned so much respect going back through and listening to what Michael Flynn was adding on that. It was absolutely incredible. And before I continue on with the Michael Flynn stuff, and I realize we got to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes, but Trump did have a plan to pull out. And Trump never pulled the cord to start that movement. He had contingencies put in place that, like, basically saying, hey, look, we're going to pull out. And if you guys don't follow these things, right, we're going to come right back. And of course the issue is that you can't ever expect that that's going to follow through, right? We've known people in the region who you give them an inch and they take a mile, right? And certainly when you have an organization that we've deemed to be a terrorist organization in this way, right? They're going to push those limits. They're going to bring the troops back in, and so there's, as you said, there's no clear-cut way to really handle this, and it's just all about finding a right way. We got to find the best way possible. Was this it? No, of course not. There's a way that we could have handled a lot of that stuff. As we talked about, pulling more of our things out before you pull out, not doing this with like a 3-month expectancy of, in 3 months, we're going to have everybody out. So hold your bunkers for 3 months, and then see you guys 3 months in one day as you guys take over the country in a matter of 2 weeks. As you guys show that the last 20 years of our efforts can be upended in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Lily Benton on YouTube says, I don't believe there was ever going to be a right way, but definitely a better way. Yeah. And that is absolute fact. The Obama administration, the Trump administration, both saw that this maneuver would end in absolute chaos. And according to every news site that I've heard and read, they all say the same thing. This is one thing that Americans are going to predominantly agree on, that we wanted to get out of Afghanistan, but we didn't want to do it like this. And so for I thought that comment was pretty funny in my comment section. Well, y'all are trying to make a political situation. Trump would have did the same thing. He was just a fat orange imbecile. Like, a lot of that's, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't. Neither did Obama. So was it political? Yes. Was it bipartisan? No, it wasn't. No. The Democrats said it was wrong. The Republicans said it was wrong. Joe Biden did this under his own accord. On his own, he did this to make whatever statement that he wanted to make in his incoherent lack of sleep and probably too much inshore and Gogurt at one point, and decided, you know what, F everybody and what they say. I'm going to do what I want. I have a feeling that he's kind of being tired of being controlled as a puppet, because that's what he is. And he said, no, I'm the president. I'm going to do and say what I want to do. And he did this, and it was absolutely effing horrible.
I want to make this political real quick. So, yeah, no, absolutely. So Joe Biden did this. Why did Joe Biden do this? Because Joe Biden doesn't care. Because Joe Biden doesn't have the cognitive ability to understand what he's doing most days, right? He has an idea and he runs with it. And so when Joe Biden wants to do something, he does it. And it doesn't matter, because he's not going to get the political blowback, because he is geriatric, because he is senile, because he doesn't have a cognitive gears that's actually meshing with another one. They're just all spinning freely in there, however they want. And so as a result of this, right, Joe Biden gets to do what Joe Biden wants to, and people don't get a hold of it against him, because we have a society right now that is structured around, like, if you have a disability, we have to like put you up on a pedestal. And certainly being an absolute imbecile without a cognitive ability, without being able to structure a sentence properly. Go watch any of his interviews recently. Oh my God.
Any of them.
If you have somebody like that, you don't get to criticize him with merit, right? It's just because you hate him. No, I genuinely hate what he is doing. I don't care about the guy at all, right? I don't find him favorable. I don't find him disfavorable. If he was a guy next door to me, I would help him. I would cut his grass for him. I would help take care of him. But him as the president of the United States, there needs to be some accountability, and there isn't any, because we live in a society right now where it's all about the whataboutism, right? Well, what about Trump? Trump's a bad guy too. Yeah, I agree. Trump's a bad guy. I agree with you. I don't care. If Trump lived next door to me, I would probably cut his grass too. I don't care. They're terrible people, right? We already went after Trump for fucking supporting a genocide. And you want to play the whataboutism game with Trump? No, stop that. You don't get to play the whataboutism game when we're talking about two people that are making terrible decisions for an entire country. This is why, like, this is one of the things that like stands out to me whenever we look at presidential campaigns, whenever we look at the presidential candidates, because the anti-war candidate has been winning. When we saw Obama said, look, we're going to make change and we're going to end these wars, right? We're going to pull out of Afghanistan. And he said we pulled out of Afghanistan 4 times as president of the United States. He ran on it the first term, and then on the second term, he's like, all right, elect me back, and we're going to finish out in Afghanistan. We're going to pull out. That didn't happen. Then Trump comes along, and Trump's like, guys, I'm going to pull this out. And then Trump, guess what? No, he vetoes a fucking genocide. Then Biden comes through, is like, I like ice cream. And people are like, it's not Trump. Let's go for him. So if we want to go political with it, yes, the Democratic Party is terrible. Yes, the Republican Party is terrible. That's why we should be voting for actual anti-war people who are going to have some gears hitting, some gears that are meshing, some gears that are actually functioning, and then we'll actually have policies that are actually going to better the lives of the American people, better the situations abroad, and actually be able to pull us out of all of these endless wars and actually save the people money and put us off into a perspective and on a trajectory, holy smokes, into a trajectory of prosperity and success and potentials being met.
Yeah.
Let me get political.
At this point, let me ask anybody who isn't libertarian, what's the worst that could happen? Look at where we're at right now. You've had, let's look at the average American voter, which at this point, if you're over the age of 40, don't get mad. The average person, the average demographic that runs America are millennials. I'm a millennial. Jason's a millennial. I'm 38. Just turned 38. I'm a geriatric millennial, but I am a millennial. That's
not being a wheelchair millennial.
Be a wheelchair millennial.
I'm kidding.
But we run the country right now. So these topics, these messages need to be promoted and billboarded because we are in dire straits. There's make no bones about it. We're in a bad spot. I know that there's a lot of people who are like, well, we've been in a bad spot for a long time. When's the last time you really saw us in this bad of a spot? All right, we got governors and mayors shutting entire cities down, requiring vaccine passports. Papers, please. Are you kidding me? You got the Afghanistan country as a whole.
The USSR collapsed 2 years after pulling out of Afghanistan.
Yeah. Bermuda Triangle.
2023?
If we make it that long, we'll see. We'll see if we make it that long. There's a lot to be covered in this specific topic.
The pending economic crash that will make 2008, 2007 housing market crash look easy. Put that on there. The Afghanistan Bermuda Triangle theory. You've got just the potential of like just world decimation from like all these stupid people running all these countries.
Yep.
You have major catastrophic world economies collapsing because of COVID and shutting down their entire economy because they want to be laser targeted. And then, of course, you still have Republicans and Democrats running the country.
Yep.
Both.
Stop voting for the same crap that you have habitually watched destroy our country for a century. Where are we at? 2021. Over a century. At least a century, right? I try to be generous, right? Like at least a century. And here we are. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do this anymore. Evaluate. Yeah, knocked it off. How do you feel, Eskimo? Astute analysis, Eskimo, on the Afghanistan Papers. Appreciate your input there, Eskimo. I mean, this is ridiculous. I've seen the meme so many times. How bad does it have to get before we evaluate other options? There are other options. The fear of, oh my God, the other person might win should be absolutely decimated at this point, because you've watched the same habitual pattern play out from every administration for the last 100 years. There'd be a minuscule difference here, a minuscule difference there. They just preach philosophy, but they vote and they walk and act and talk the same way.
Yep. Absolutely. It's semantics. It's semantics between the two parties. And if you want change, the only change is coming through is when you have a party that won over 50% of the candidates they ran in 2020. And that is the Libertarian Party. So go ahead and look into the Libertarian Party, figure out why it is that we want to see change, see how we want to see change. And then with these policies, with these actions that we're pushing forward with, how that is going to better your life, how that is going to better your neighbor's life, how that is going to work to end monopolies, how that is going to make healthcare more affordable, more accessible, and bring more satisfaction.
Yep.
How we're going to look at the criminal justice system and stop locking people up for victimless crimes and create more of a rehabilitative system where people aren't just sitting in timeout for several years getting indoctrinated into the culture there, but rather people are being worked with to be able to understand why the crimes that they were committing, why those are bad, and how to get through it to where they're not committing those again, so that when they do re-enter society at the 70% rate that most people do, how they're going to be a productive member of society rather than coming out and potentially being a menace and being a part of the 60% of recidivism rate and going back in. So if we can stop crime by changing up the system, come and actually listen to libertarians as we talk about these issues, as we talk about these topics, where we want to propel your life and everyone else's lives forward and better and really enable you to get to your potential.
That's beautifully and most eloquently, most topically said. Do you want to do the last ad read, Jason?
I'll let you take it.
You let me take it?
I don't
I think
break the
Jason
train.
wants to do it. I think Jason wants to do it. I guess Jason's not going to do it. We'll let Eskimo. Eskimo, tell us about Jonathan Reels. Great ad read, Eskimo. I'll do it. Jonathan Reels is not a real candidate until we reach $5,000. This graphic is not accurate. He is almost to his goal. He needs your help. The Federal Election Commission. Oh, there's another one. If you are a Republican or Democrat and don't know about ballot access, that is something that you should look into. If you care at all about the word and the actions of discrimination, mainly Democrats looking at you, then you care about equal and fair ballot access. Jonathan Reels is not a real candidate until we reach $5,000. The Federal Election Commission states that an individual running for a seat in the United States House of Representatives becomes a candidate when he or she raises or spends more than $5,000 in contributions or expenditures. www.jonathancash. Jonathan Reels. Donate to Jonathan Cash. Now, it's sufficient and worthy to say that Republicans and Democrats collude in court. You didn't think that was going to happen, did you, people? But they do. Why? Because they're scared of us. Why? Because the vast majority of the American people agree with the libertarian philosophy. So they get together and they spend money together in court to discriminate against third-party candidates like Jonathan Reels. So go support Jonathan Reels and get the message out there that everyone deserves. I don't care what party you're part of, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, Constitutionalist, or whatever other party that you may closely align with. Your vote, your name deserves to be on the ballot. You should not have to spend money that other parties don't have to spend or collect signatures that they don't have to collect just to be on the ballot. That's discrimination.
Yep. No, and it happens every year. As every candidate, as the Libertarian Party had all 50 states with a presidential candidate on them, Many of these states came back and said, we're going to make the barrier a little bit higher because as you get closer to success, we're going to raise the barrier for you to achieve that same success.
Facts.
We're going to make it more difficult for you at the federal level or at the state level or at the county level or even at the city level to be able to run again. Here in South Carolina, I'm pretty sure it was pretty close to doubling the number of signatures to get to be on the ballot. And it's just like, man, you guys are protecting something. It's kind of interesting that you guys only want the fights between Republicans and Democrats. Meanwhile, both parties talk about how they want to have free and fair elections, right? You don't want to discriminate against the voters, and we don't want to either. So let the voters have an opinion. Let them have a vote. And that means that anybody who's running for that seat should be able to run for those seats so that the people can vote for somebody that they believe in rather than being stuck in the two-party system. And of course, the Republicans are worried about their votes not counting because, voter fraud is one of their big talking points. Well, it's kind of fraudulent when my opinion of who should be on the ballot is being negated because of the laws that you've decided to implement that don't actually affect you, but just parties outside of the duopoly, the Republican Party. So eventually we have to break down these barriers and allow for our republic or democracy, however you want to call it, for them to actually be representative of the people. And we could do things like what Maine has done and have ranked voting to where we can truly see how many people are willing to vote vote Libertarian, to vote Green Party, to vote for Constitution Party, to vote for the rent is too damn high party, to vote for whatever party that they want to, because they can still vote for your Republican parties after they vote for the party that they actually believe in.
Facts. Here's another fun fact for you. I say this one a lot because it bears repeating all the time. In the state of Tennessee, if you want to run on the ballot as a Republican or Democratic, takes 25 signatures. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not sure why the signatures are a requisite, but not bad. Not bad. Libertarian candidates. Jason, do you know what it takes in the state of Tennessee to run as a Libertarian to get on the ballot while Republicans and Democrats need 25 signatures?
Judging by a population of like Nashville, probably right around 20,000, 25,000?
56,000.
Fuck.
25 for Republican and Democrat, over 56,000. I'll be generous just to make sure that my math isn't completely correct. Over 50,000 signatures to get on the ballot. Everybody loves math. I know they do. I hate math. I'm just kind of good at it, but I still am pretty good at it. You know who else is good at math? The very Socratic orator and philosophical generation of our time. Lil Wayne. Numbers don't lie. Philosophicer. Doesn't matter. 56,000. Pretty sure I'm right on that. Just trying to see why I cover my ass. 25 for Republicans and Democrats. 25. 2-5. 5-6 with a comma. And then 3 more zeros after that. Thanks, Lil Wayne. Love your input.
You can get 25 signatures for any candidate standing in front of a Walmart and just, will you sign this? Yeah.
In an hour?
Yeah. I am a Republican candidate. 25 signatures. I am a Democratic candidate. 25 signatures. I'm a Libertarian. 25 signatures. But you have to do that 4 times to get to 100. And then you got to do it 56,000 more times.
You got to do it 560 more times. If you get 100 signatures, you will have to do that again 560 more times to get on the ballot. Man, I hope my math is right. I don't know. I've been working so much overtime and
you're good.
Like it's crazy. But the discrimination is real. That's what blows me. It doesn't blow my mind because these words like discrimination is just what people use to put a political agenda. They don't really care about you being discriminated against. They don't really care at all. They care about what they can make.
They only care about their power and keeping it. That's all. That's all that they care about. Every representative. I can only think of one representative in the last 4 years that I saw that I can think of two now. I just thought of another one. But two candidates that ran that said, you know what? This is my last campaign. This is my last time running. And so I'm just going balls to the wall. I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I feel. I'm going to fight against the system. One of those happens to be a guy that I don't find very favorable. That was Senator Flake from Arizona. And the other one, who I find to be much more principled and actually was the first libertarian to be in office in the House of Representatives. Anyone? I know you know it, Cajun. I'm blanking on it.
I was waiting to see if I thought you were going to make a joke there. Now I'm waiting to see if.
Nope, I'm literally blanking on his face. I can see his face, but I don't remember his name. But
wait, go ahead. Sorry.
No, who's libertarian? Justin Amash. There we go. Amash? Justin Amash. Yeah. So Justin Amash, right? Justin Amash went in and he was like, "This is my last year." Candidate. No, he's still the first libertarian representative because he swapped to become a libertarian while still in office. And so that's why we actually had the first tripartisan. No, it's not the first tripartisan bill. First tripartisan bill with a libertarian on it was to end civil asset forfeiture at the federal level. Got nowhere absolutely because he had Justin Amash on it. But nonetheless, he stood up there and he said, "Look, I'm not fighting to stay in power. I'm not fighting to stay in Congress. I'm fighting here because I made a vow to my constituents that I would represent them to the best of my ability. And so that means that I have to stand up here and I have to vote for impeachment because that's in my conscience as a representative of my people, of my district." And he did that. He stood up against bills and was routinely fighting against both Republican and Democrat bills, saying this is outrageous. This is disgusting. We've seen some of these things happen from people like Thomas Massey. We've seen things like this come from Rand Paul. We've seen this come from even people on the Democratic side. We've seen this happen from some people who don't find very favorable, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We've seen this from Bernie Sanders. We've seen this from nope, forgot that person. But we've also seen it from the moderate side of the Democratic Party as well, where we've seen people step up and they're saying, "Look, I'm going to stand on my values, my virtues, and whether I agree with them or not, I have to applaud them for breaking away from their party. This needs to be done because you cannot say that you are representative people." Tulsi Gabbard, yes, definitely. You are a representative of your people. You are following in your job if you are merely representing your party. It needs to be done.
Break away from the norm. This is what needs to happen. Eskimo, what are your opinions? Astute analysis, Eskimo. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate your valuable input and your presence in the Cajun Libertarian Live studio, which is my kitchen. Jason, closing comments.
I want to thank you for letting me be Eskimo number 2 today. As a former Alaskan, I felt as if I could talk about this. Thankfully, I live in a sunnier state, a happier state, a warmer state. But no, I mean, it's been a hell of a time, man. I appreciate it so much. It's been a lot of fun busting your chops with this and coming out with some great content, great talking points, and let me drop the mic there a couple times. But I love each and every one of you guys in the comment section, whether you're watching this live or coming back later. Please do make sure that you guys come back next Monday. I've got Bootleg Libertarian. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that happens to be guns. I can't say my favorite because I don't have a favorite. I just have every topic be one of my favorite. And then, of course, we got Muddy Waters of Freedom on Tuesday with Matt and Spike. Wednesday, we're going to be coming back with Spike with My Fellow Americans. Always a fantastic show. Thursday, we've got the Writer's Block with Matt Wright. And then, of course, next Friday is Eskimo going to be back in her igloo.
Friday is on hold. I have been invited to a Tennessee event where they're paying my way on Friday. So we will probably do the Cajun Eskimo show that weekend, but it will not be Friday night. So pending.
So
Probably
we'll find a
pending.
replacement. We'll find a replacement for Cajun on Friday.
That would actually probably be a better idea.
No. But
Jason,
make sure you guys are following up on this.
Eskimo. Yeah, Eskimo and Jason and Eskimo. Jason Eskimo rings better.
I'll have show notes.
Yeah, we did
the current igloo and the former igloo.
Hey,
but
that's awesome.
But no, I love the show tonight. Appreciate it so much. It was an absolute honor to be on here with you, man. And I'm so glad that you have joined a part of the Muddy Waters team, and look forward to having a show with Nolik one day to be able to welcome her in as well. And did I beat? Have you been on with Spike yet, or did I beat Spike to being on with you?
Spike has been on my show. He came on my show Memorial Day in May.
This is bullshit.
I thought you. I'm glad I got you, because I thought you were going to ask if I had been on with Spike on My Fellow Americans. I have not been on with Spike. I'm pretty sure that's not going to be a thing. I don't know.
That's like a 10-year wait list right now. So just
there's no point in having me on his show, because everybody that watches his show, that was going to sound real bad. I should probably stop there. So, I was just gonna say,
everyone is great who watches Spike Cohen's show, My Fellow Americans, Wednesday nights at 8-ish Freedom Time.
That's right. So I got to ask you before we head out, who has the better beard, Jason? Me or you?
Oh, me all.
Bad answer. I have the power, young Luke Skylyson. So let's ask Eskimo instead. Who has a better beard? Eskimo. Thanks, Eskimo. I know I have the better beard. Thank you, everyone, tonight for tuning in and watching the show. We love y'all so much. We will continue this endeavor very much so. If you have not checked out Mr. America, The Bearded Truth on Mondays, Muddy Waters Media, please do so. I look up to that guy tremendously, and I hope to God that you do too. And you saw tonight one reason why, many reasons why. He inspires me to do better at this job. That's one of the biggest reasons. He is one of the biggest reasons you have seen a jump in my show and my show's numbers, because I am doing better at the show. Why am I doing better at the show? Because of people like Jason Lyon, Mr. America, The Bearded Truth, Spike Cohen, My Fellow Americans, Matt Wright, The Writer's Block, Nolik Trupp, Eskimo Libertarian, and that's just what it is. I am learning from these people who are doing this vastly more better, even though I have the better beard. And Eskimo said it. What was that? Yes, you are correct. I do have the better beard. Thank you. I love each and every one of y'all. We will see y'all Sunday night, or I will see you on my personal show, The Cajun Libertarian Live, Sunday night for the reschedule of the premiere of the Liz Terwilliger for Congress interview, which due to bad weather, we had to reschedule this week. So Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Freedom Time on the Cajun Libertarian Live. And you know what that means. Same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. Other than that, please keep up with Muddy Waters Media. Give them a follow. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, Float, everywhere you can possibly imagine that you can follow Muddy Waters Media. Do that. Do the thing, because we have all the best people, excluding myself. I am the least best. That is honest. That's for real. But what I can brag about myself on is I am learning from these people that are doing vastly greater things and more knowledgeable and more prepared. And I am here for it. Thank you. I love each and every one of you so much. And we need you. We need your voice. We need your help. Don't forget, $5 raffle tickets. Go to the Cajun Libertarian page, pinned to the top. $5. You can get this hat that will be worth absolutely nothing tomorrow. But according to Mr. America, The Bearded Truth, will be worth literally, he said this, literally tens of thousands of dollars by the end of next week. So make your purchase now for a $5 raffle ticket and get the hat from Cajun Libertarian and help out a family who's trying to fight for children, because that's what we do. That's what we do. We fight for kids. We fight for the helpless. That's what we're here for. So make your $5, buy your raffle. You can buy up to $5. You can spend a whopping $25. So instead of going and ordering an entire meal's worth of fast food for your family, you can cook, and you can take that $25 and you can give it to a family that is struggling and fighting for their children. Love you very much. Thank you very much. And we are out.